Hello there, welcome to Verbling. Hi, I'm Teacher Oakley, and at this time slot, as we have been doing for this week, we are going to be looking at the TOEFL reading test. Today we'll conclude the week. We're going to dive right in and practice one section, at least one section, hopefully, maybe more. See how far we get of the TOEFL reading test. We're going to attack it as a team, hopefully, and discuss tactics and strategies as we go along, and hopefully you'll be able to improve your ability to do the TOEFL reading test. Also, obviously, any English speakers will learn a little bit about reading comprehension, figuring out how to deduce vocabulary meaning from context, other skills, will be used in the class. Where is everyone today? Okay. We have also today, a little differently than we have been doing, we're going to actually, I'm going to show you what the screen looks like for those who are not familiar. Hang on. I will briefly show you kind of what you can expect to actually see. Here we go. All right, on your screen, when you take the TOEFL test, by the way, it's going to look a little something like this. It may be slightly different, but basically your screen is going to look something like this. All right. A quick note about some of the buttons and so forth while I'm waiting for students to help me practice. There are different buttons in the header. It is a computerized test. I think in a few areas they still do a written test for TOEFL. Mostly it is the IBT test, internet-based test. And you're going to have a few buttons, some of which you never want to touch. Pause test, you can't really do that. Everything's timed and it keeps rolling along. Section exit, that's basically, okay, I want to give up and throw away my $200 I spent for this test. Don't click this. This will just move you to the next section. You'll go from reading to writing or what have you. Excuse me. Next and back, you can basically scroll forward to the next screen or backward to the next screen. You have a help button. My advice here is if you need help on the TOEFL test, you shouldn't be in the TOEFL test to begin with, because you should know what's going on before you ever spend your money to take this exam. So another useless button. Below that, there is a timer. You can hide the time, but again, I wouldn't advise you ever click this button either, because you really need to be able to keep track of the time on the test. Everything is timed. And the one button that you really do need is this one. It's called the review test. One strategy I recommend, it's advice, you can follow it or not, is to do the test twice. The two-pass method. Go through and do all the easiest, least time-consuming questions first, and then hit the review button. This will display a list of all the questions and which ones you've answered and it will show which questions you have not answered, and you can click on each specific question. Oh, I didn't answer question 3. You click on 3, and it takes you back to that question. In other words, for your second pass, this is a shortcut. Okay, hi, Selma.
Hello, teacher.
Hi again. Uh,
Mhm.
okay, Selma, I can't remember. Have you taken the TOEFL test before, or do you have plans to take the TOEFL test?
Well, honestly, I haven't taken a TOEFL test until now, but I do have some plans to take it, but I'm just feeling a little bit afraid of the test.
Selma, and that shows me something about your character. That shows me you are smart. Yeah, well, you should be.
Mhm.
Uh, okay. It is a demanding test, and it takes a lot of time to prepare. In my opinion, you cannot start preparing too early. People often ask me, when should I start preparing for the test? Well, from the moment you were born would be a good idea. But that's just my opinion. Okay. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at a particular, let's do this. We're going to look at a particular reading passage. Each passage, normally you're going to have 3 reading passages, uh, basically 12 to 15 questions in each passage, totaling about 40. It doesn't have to be 40, but it usually is. Okay, you're going to have an hour to do this. I recommend for most people, there's really no need to read every word and concentrate on understanding everything about the reading passage. There's actually 3 strategies. You can do that. I only recommend this for people who are very fast readers, um, who have a lot of experience. The most useful strategy is to just skim it, which is what we're going to do today. So I'll explain that as we go.
Mhm.
Or you can just blow it off completely. You can just go right to the questions. Uh, why? Because you're fighting the clock. You have 40 questions, you have 60 minutes. That's not a lot of time. Um, Not a lot of time at all. A minute and a half, roughly, for each question. And the questions do take some thought and they do take some deduction. Some question types are much faster than other question types. So let's skim this. Our first clue, pardon me, is the title, The Veneration of Trees. All right, maybe you don't know what veneration means, maybe you do. But at least you know, okay, trees.
Mhm.
We're talking
Yes.
trees. Okay.
Mhm.
I would recommend in the skimming technique to read the first paragraph. All right. After
Mhm.
that, read the first or maybe the first 2 sentences in the supporting paragraph and then just skim down. When you skim down quickly, like that quickly, you're only looking for, all right, some words that are repeated or capital letter words, Celtic, Germanic, okay, Northern Europe, Druids, worshipped oaks, Germany. All right, that's it. That's all the time I'm going to spend skimming. That took 3 or 4 seconds. That's it. I would, however, recommend reading the entire first paragraph because in classic academic style, it is going to present you with the overall topic, controlling idea, and thesis of the piece. So let's start with that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Right.
Uh, right. Can you go ahead and read this? Can you see
Uh,
it? Okay.
yes, yes, I can see that. In the Golden Path, his classic catalog of mytholo mythologies,
Yes. Good.
Sir James George Fraser extensively documents significance of trees in world religion. His chapters on tree spirits run from northern Europe to the eastern seaboard of what is now United States to the islands of the Pacific. Despite the lack of contact among these regions, the veneration of trees united them. The woods that covered large areas of Europe and North America, in particular, were difficult to penetrate and dangerous to cross. It was not that it was not a great mental leap for people to see the trees that populated them as embodiments of the natural forces that govern their lives.
Okay. So, uh, a technique for not just TOEFL, also IELTS, also people just normal people reading and reading comprehension is to read something like this and then summarize it as basically as possible. And this is a strategy we use over and over again in TOEFL. Summarizing information to its most basic elements, subject, verb, object. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, what can we say about this paragraph? How would you summarize it?
Um, well, I would say that the veneration of trees is kind of mythology. Uh, it's it's a bunch of trees that uh, that relates the United States to the island of the Pacific,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
the um, mhm.
No, I want to interrupt you. You're on the right track. Yes, you're summarizing it. But I would take it another step, go even further. Okay. Um, all right. Uh, okay. Trees are even use different words. Trees are worshipped all over the world. All right. It's a consistent practice to worship trees all over the world. Boom. That's it. Very basic.
Oh, okay.
For
Mhm.
believe it or not, this technique of rephrasing things into a simple sentence, subject, verb, object, one subject, one verb, one object. Maybe if there's a controlling idea that involves an adjective or adverb, maybe, but really, really basic. This this technique is very useful in TOEFL, and you'll be doing it for entire paragraphs. You'll be doing it for sentences to help your understanding. And it's amazing how helpful it can be, and how much it can speed you up. Actually,
Mhm.
uh, okay. Let's continue. Now we're going to skim the the supporting paragraphs, kind of like this. On the basis of Fraser's classification, one can derive three loose stages of tree worship. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay. When I see any numbers in a TOEFL reading passage, okay, I know this is key information. Okay, there are three stages of tree worship. In the first, okay, now he's going to present the first because I know this is a key point. He's going to say the first already, before I read any more, I know what's coming. I'm going to get first, the second, and the third stages. I need to know what they are. They're stages. Because I know, I need to know these stages. I know there's going to be questions related to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead because I see the next. It's very important to recognize these discourse markers or signal phrases in the reading. In the first, okay, here's my first stage. I'm going to continue reading in its entirety so I understand. Okay, the society sees the tree as the physical body of the spirit that inhabits it. Okay, much as the human body can be seen as housing the mind. Okay. All right. All right. So again, I'm going to summarize that to myself. I might think to myself, all right, 3 stages. Stage 1, the tree has a spirit. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's it. And then I may quickly scan down Celtic, Germanic, Druids, Germany. Okay. That's it. Now, next. Okay. Accordingly, ancient peoples had elaborate taboos designed to avoid causing offense. Taboos. Okay, I see taboos again. Gonna just scan down. I believe this paragraph is going to be about taboos. Punished, stealing, felled. Notice I'm looking at verbs. Apologies. Inviting, bad fortune, injuries, trees cry. Okay, that's it. All right, taboos and bad things about trees. All right, there are taboos. There are I know what if I hopefully I know what taboos mean. I mean things that are not socially acceptable. They're
Mm-hmm.
social rules involving trees. Okay, and it seemed to me reading the verbs that bad things can happen. Okay, next paragraph. Society makes a leap in sophistication and reaches Fraser's second stage. All right. When I see ordinal numbers, first, second, third, this really makes it easy for me to understand that the writer has a first, second, third point. Uh, okay, what is it? When it begins to regard them as separate. What is separate? I don't understand that. Oh, good. That is great. He's going to clarify the information.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The spirit exists independently of the physical tree, even if it chooses to dwell there most of the time. Okay, so stage 2, the tree spirit can move around. Cool. Awesome. Good for you. All right. Take up residence. Any tree. Oh, okay. It stands for a group. Uh, okay. Uh, okay. Tree spirit identified with the forest as a whole. All right. Um, okay. All right. I may also want to take a look at if I'm still not sure what's going on in the paragraph, the last sentence of the paragraph often will clarify for me as well. Such a tree spirit represented the potential and abstract rather than concrete and immediate. Okay. Not the physical tree itself, but the tree's mobile spirit. Okay. Very good. Okay. So this paragraph, second stage, moving tree spirits. All right. First sentence, third stage. All righty. I've got to know what that is. Um, all right. Liberated from each other, trees and their spirits can begin to be seen as symbols and embodiments of other natural processes of significance to primitive life. The power of weather and seasons to produce good and bad harvests, childbirth, disease. Okay, trees as symbols or their spirits as symbols of other phenomenon. Okay, again, I might quickly note capital words when I'm skimming. I'm looking for any repeated words that may appear in the area, which I don't really see. I have seen, okay, furnish rain, women, okay, bear children, fertility, okay, fruitfulness, fruitfulness. All right. Again, indicates a society has made its first steps towards symbolic and abstract thinking. Ah, okay, third stage, symbolic, abstract. Okay, 1, 2, 3 stages. Now, your screen in the TOEFL test will look like this. We're ready for the questions. Okay, again, I've really only concerned myself with fully reading the first paragraph. Sometimes there was not really a distinct concluding paragraph. If there was, I would have read that. A quick scan. Now, in reality, this should probably take me maximum 5 minutes. Really? Probably less. If it takes you 5 minutes to skim, and that's on the outer edge, 3 to 5 minutes, really. 3 minutes would be better. If I have 3 pieces and it's 3 minutes, that leaves me 50 minutes to do 40 questions. It means that I should time myself, try to give myself 1 minute per question. If it takes me 5 minutes, well, then I have 45 minutes to do 40 questions. All right, I'm still looking at 1 minute per question. If I know how long it takes me to skim, this is important. It helps my timing. When you do the questions on the TOEFL test, this is what it looks like. You'll have the question here, and you'll have the reading passage right here on the same screen. All right. So there's no need to flip back and forth. There's no need to scroll around. There's no need to. The answer's right there in front of you. Okay. First question right away. They start with an inference question. These can be difficult. It can be inferred from paragraph 1 of the passage that the peoples of Europe and North America associated trees with. Okay. Now, you need to understand what an inference is. If your husband comes home and he smells like perfume and he has lipstick on his collar, you may infer that he has been with another woman. Okay. But that is a kind of a bigger leap in logic. You're using clues to infer something else. As far as TOEFL, or for that matter, IELTS, is concerned with reading, the inference is not that big of a leap. In other words, your inference pretty much is, 2 + 2 equals, I can infer the answer is 4. It's very logical, inevitable. With the information in the passage, it has to be true. Okay, so this is important. The trick is you may be able to infer different answers, different possible answers. Yeah, and it could be an inference, and it could be correct, essentially. But it may be too much of a leap in logic. Okay, that's the danger here. That's the tricky part. All right, so we read passage 1. Okay, peoples of Europe and North America associated trees with. All right, we're probably going to have to look at it again, no doubt. We're looking at paragraph 1. All right. Europe and North America, associated trees with, okay. Uh, associated trees with what? What did they associate trees with? Hmm.
Maybe answer B.
Maybe. And in fact, the last sentence here is not a great mental leap. All right. See that trees populated them, forests that is, as embodiments of the natural forces that govern their
Mm-hmm.
lives. Uh, okay. Uh, actually, they associated trees with. I'm going to look for language that sounds like this, and I think I found it. To associate is to, okay, a great mental leap. To see that people, the trees populated forests, them is forest, as embodiments of the natural forces that govern their lives, as personification of natural phenomena. Again, what am I doing? I'm restating it, I'm rephrasing it in my brain. So when I look at the answers, which is closest to that? Travel, religions of old tribes, dangerous forces of nature, or the common culture of humanity. Which do you think, Selma? You still think B?
Uh, no, no, I've changed my answer. Letter C, dangerous forces of nature.
Yes. Okay. All right. It's very, very close to what is already in the passage. All right. It's barely an inference at all, really. It almost says it. It almost says it. That's the trick to these inference questions. In fact, that is the correct answer. Uh, the
Mm-hmm.
answer is always in there. That's one of the key things to note. The answer is always in the text, and an inference question, it's it's really in there. It's the only possible logical conclusion one could draw. Okay, let's look at a vocabulary question. Strategy here. Go look at the question. Um, Often, a very good strategy is to look at the question itself and rephrase the question using what or why. In this case, what does penetrate mean? All right. Of
To
course,
enter.
all right. My strategy here is to not even look at the answers. I'm not going to look at the answers. All right.
Mhm.
I'm not, because you may be very, very tempted to say, oh, I know penetrate means enter. There, I save myself time. However, normal vocabulary words they use in TOEFL have multiple meanings, and it will be in the reading passage as the most obscure, uh, least used definition of that word. This is their common
Mhm.
trick. Not always. Sometimes it may be the most used definition of that word. So you just can't be sure. Uh, they do try to trick you, and that is why you're a little afraid of TOEFL. You should be, because they're evil and they are trying to trap you and trick you. It's like taking a test that the devil made. He lies, he tricks, he deceives, and so does TOEFL.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, all right. So I'm going to go right to, it's easy to find, it's highlighted, so I don't have to waste time doing that. I'm going to look right at the sentence. The woods that covered large areas of Europe and North America, in particular, were difficult to blank and dangerous to cross. All right. Well, You said enter, difficult to enter and dangerous to cross. Well, in this case, that makes perfect sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go into difficult to, yeah, okay. Uh, anyway, the strategy is try to think of a word before you try not to look at these as much as you can, so you're not influenced by these. And instead, go directly to, once you're used to this, you're just going to see this question. You're going to see the highlighted word. Just immediately turn your gaze over to and try to think of a word that best fits. If you don't come up with that word instantly, if you do, then you're reasonably sure. If you just happen to paraphrase or come up with a synonym that exactly fits, hooray. If you don't, you're probably going to be able to eliminate one or two answers and then just substitute the word, uh, the answer, the possible answer for the question word one at a time and see which one makes the most sense.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Okay.
that's the normal strategy. Okay,
Or maybe, uh,
yes?
so, or maybe you can look to the next verb. Like in this situation, you got to penetrate and then to cross. So logically, you have to enter to a certain place and then you cross it.
Uh-huh,
Did you get my point?
I think so. Are you saying that you need to use process of elimination? No, no?
No, no,
Maybe I
no.
didn't get your point.
I mean the next the verb that is that follows that. Uh, for instance, here the words that follows penetrate, we got to cross. So logically, if you want before you cross
Ah,
a certain place, you have first to enter to that place and then you cross it. So
ah,
the correct answer would be to enter. Mm-hmm.
okay. Well, using logic. Yes, it has. It was going
Mm-hmm.
to help to have, yes, it's going to help to use logic. Right, yes. Uh, Definitely. And I might also add, we only looked at this one sentence in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Very often it helps to back up one sentence for vocabulary words.
Uh,
There may be some background information which also helps with the logic of guessing the answer. Yes,
uh-huh.
you're absolutely right. Here it's very close. The clues are very close to the word. Sometimes the clues may be in the sentence before. So yes, you do have a good point, and that reminds me to say that there are going to be many times when that sort of logical clue may come in the preceding sentence. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
okay. All right. The author. Now, this kind of sentence, the author mentions the Druids in paragraph 2 as an example of a people that, again, uh, I'm not going to even look at the answers. Instead, I'm going to rephrase the question. Why does using what or why, logically, why does the author mention Druids? Uh, eh, I don't know. Okay, quickly. I know Druids is in paragraph 2. It's very easy to find. It's a capitalized word. Capitalized words are always easy to scan for. When you're looking for a particular word or combination of a couple words, that's called scanning. You're scanning for keywords. Here,
Mm-hmm.
Druids. Okay, why does he mention Druids? Obviously, it's in parentheses. He's mentioning Druids as some sort of an example. Okay, why? Well, I guess I'm going to have to back up a little. It is known that both as Celtic and the Germanic tribes that inhabited ancient northern Europe regarded certain trees as sacred, setting them apart by species. Ah, okay. As the Druids worshipped oak. Aha. So, why did the author mention oaks? As an example, I know that, to show how they set them apart
Uh,
by species, right?
yeah.
Oaks are species.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, looky here. Wow, great. So my, set them apart by species. Again, I'm summarizing as as closely and as simply as I can using the most important keywords. In the answer, sometimes you get lucky. Okay, separate them by species. Well, there's species, particular species, not separate. Um,
And there
okay,
is worship.
and there's worshipped as well. So
Mm-hmm.
usually, sometimes you'll get lucky, and one of the keywords will be right there, like species here. Many times, particular or worship, they use synonyms, all right, to give you the correct answer. That's usually, in fact, what they do. This time it was pretty easy. So, by rephrasing, attacking the information in the passage, summarizing the information, rephrasing it, now looking at the answers, boom, that's it. I'm done. It's actually very, very time effective. So hopefully you can complete all those steps very quickly and you can easily get your answer in under a minute. That's the goal. The goal is about beat the clock, really. Uh, as you're taking the test, you get an answer in 15 seconds. You're excited. All right, that gives me more time for other questions. 30 seconds. All right, I did it in half time. I've got an extra 30 seconds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, that's how you feel as you're taking the test. On the other hand, you get very frustrated if you're spending 3 minutes on one question, you still don't have the answer. This is where I would say forget it. Forget it. Don't don't get stuck on one question for 10 minutes. That's suicide. That's crazy. You don't want to do that. Just come back to it. Again, you have this magical button up here. Uh, okay, review button. All you have to do is click this, and you have instant shortcuts to any questions that you did not answer. It's better to answer 20 questions out of 40 that you know you got them right. You're very confident, rather than spend 10 minutes on one question and suddenly realize you have 5 minutes left in the test with 20 questions, which you're just going to have to guess. A, B, 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 or just say B on each one and hope you get 25% of them right. You know, right? Then maybe if you're lucky, you'll get 5 questions right. So much better to attack the questions that you can save you time and that you know you can be confident about the answer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another vocabulary question. The word severely in this passage. Again, whoop, not going to bother looking. Go right to severely. All right. These taboos were taken very seriously. Again, one sentence before, why not? In some places, one could be punished severely for injuring the bark of a tree or stealing its fruit. Can you think of a word?
Harshly.
Harshly, yes. Another clue with vocabulary, obviously you want to look at word type. Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Uh, is it a connective? Is it an adverb? Here it's an adverb. Your
Mm-hmm.
your choice of harshly is a good choice because It is synonymous with severe, harsh. A severe winter, a harsh winter. The adjectives are the same, the adverbs are the same. And look, there it is. Very good. All right. They will sometimes have, okay, adverb, adverb, noun, verb. And sometimes they make it, oh, duh, it can't be a noun, it can't be a verb. So you can, sometimes they do make it very easy to eliminate answers based on word form.
Uh-huh. Sir, Teacher Oakley, I got a question.
Yeah.
May I ask? If they give you, for instance, harshly, brutally, and cruelly, and so how can we decide which one that does fit in that context?
Good example. Wow. Okay. Uh, Basically, kind of what I was playing around with doing when I was saying I used. Okay, it's a very good question. I was sort of doing that actually. I would look at. Uh, okay, usually the verb from the verb. Okay, I would think about that. All right. Can I punish? Okay, punish cruelly for injuring the bark. All right, first of all, I'd try simply substituting them all. Then if I'm still confused, another technique, like the next step, the last step, really. Um,
Uh-huh.
think about what if you had a different verb or a different object. Um, okay. Uh, all right. If you know what some of the other words mean, okay. Injured severely. Hmm. Injured cruelly. No. Injured badly. Injured harshly. Hmm. That may not work. Actually, let's see. Punish severely for being late. Okay. Punish cruelly for being late. Well, that seems punish harshly for being late. Hmm. Okay. That may not work, but you can try substituting different words, nouns for nouns or verbs for verbs. I don't think they would ever give you like harshly, cruelly. What was the other one? Those are
Brutally.
those were like three very close synonyms.
Yeah.
They don't usually do that, frankly. They're
Mhm.
they're gonna usually they're gonna give you what they normally do. They would give you. This is actually pretty easy. Usually, the vocabulary word is going to have multiple meanings. So they'll give you one answer, which is a meaning that doesn't fit. It does mean what the word means. It is a definition, but it doesn't fit the context. Usually, they'll usually
Mhm.
give you one answer, which is exactly the opposite, or nearly the opposite. Secretly, is close to that. The opposite meaning. That's
Uh-huh.
usually what they do. That's one of their tricks. And then they'll give you one red herring. That's it could be used, and it could be used in the sentence, but it probably doesn't make sense in the wider context. If you spread it out a little and look at the sentence before, or possibly even the sentence after, it doesn't fit the wider context.
Uh-huh.
So actually, usually that's what if you get confused with the last couple of words, you look back and you look at the sentences before or after. Usually that makes it a little clearer.
Mhm.
You're not
Okay.
normally going to give you really, really tight synonyms like that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Okay. Here's the question now. All right. When you see this, be aware. It will say not except or least in capital letters. When you see this, um, first, it depends on where you see it. This is only question 5. I may take a quick look at it. If I see it more like question 14,
Mm-hmm.
I'm more prone to do it. The problem is I have to find, I'm looking for the one thing that is not in the passage. So the issue here, they don't tell me where to look for any of this. I have to look at the entire passage, and I have to look for each answer. And I really won't know I have the right answer until I find 3 things that are in the passage. This is going to involve me looking at a keyword. They apologized. Now, um, I do remember. Do you remember where to look for this? They
Uh,
apologize, injuring, express pain.
well, in the second stage, when the tree has, when the spirit uh, s- is separate than the physical status of the trees, I think.
Okay. I remember it a little differently. In the second stage,
Uh-huh.
I remember all the bad things that happened, injuries and apologize, express pain. I remember all that being in the area of the taboos,
The second stage, the
except
area
this
of
last.
the. Uh,
Anyway, it's going to be very time consuming. Um, See, here's the thing. If this comes near the end of the questions, you've probably you've scanned it. I mean, you've skimmed it initially, 3 to 5 minutes. You've done a lot of different questions involving all different parts of the passage. When this comes like number 5 question, 13, 12, 13, 14, 15, you may be able to very quickly eliminate a couple answers. Oh, I know this was in there, and I already answered a question about that one. I'm only really trying to figure out which one of these two isn't in the passage. Okay, and this means it's going to be a lot faster if you can oh yeah, I just answered a question about this. Eliminate it. I know it's there. I just looked at it. Okay. So, in other words, if this is question 12 or 13, the chances are pretty good that you can quickly eliminate a couple answers. So you're only really looking for 2 things that cuts your time in half. If, as in this example, it's question 5 and I've barely looked at anything, I may opt to not even bother. I may opt to actually skip this question and do this question on the second pass. For the simple reason it's going to take me 3 minutes probably to scan for, find the information, and use process of elimination. I need to eliminate 3 answers that are there. Uh, so my strategy, this is all strategy. I might skip it. But let's say I'm going to do it. How am I going to actually do this question? Um, all right. Evidence that ancient, okay, which is not mentioned as evidence that ancient people believed trees had individual spirits. All right. Trees had individual spirits, right, was in the second paragraph. You are right. And, okay, I also remember the next paragraph was about taboos and all the things you could do. So basically, I know my answer is probably going to be in paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. What now? Your technique here is going to involve looking for keywords, scanning. So, okay, Selma, what would I look for in the first one here? What word or words do you
the
think?
verb to apologize.
Hello.
And Uh, can you hear me, sir?
Sorry?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I
I said the verb to apologize. Apologize.
apologize. Yeah, that's what I'd look for. It's bigger, it has a Z in it, which makes it harder, easier to see. All right, let's race. Who can find apologize first? I don't see it there.
Um, it's in the paragraph starting with accordingly. The yes. Which is
Yeah, I think we saw it at the same time. All right. Before a tree was felled for human use, woodcutters in many cultures would offer it both apologies. Bah! Eliminate that one. Okay, done. That one is in there. I'm looking for what is not in there. Okay, next. They had rules against injuring the tree bark. Hey. Well, wait a minute. Didn't we see this already?
yes, sir. When we were looking for the synonym of severely, severely. Mm,
Uh-huh. So we already saw this already. So there you
mm,
go. All right. If I'm not 100% sure, I need to double check.
okay.
But I'm 100% sure. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Great. So now we're down to two. They thought trees could express pain. Oh, what are we going to look for here? How are we going to find
Pain.
this? Pain?
Uh,
All right. Pain. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's the tree bark. Okay. Do you see it? I do.
well, actually, the screen is. I cannot see the text because it is not moving. No, now I can see it. Yes. I had to go
A little
suffering.
blurry. Yeah, anyway. There it is. Now, it doesn't actually say pain.
But suffering is a synonym of pain.
Suffering is a synonym of pain, exactly. Injuries were said to cause suffering to trees as they did to people. Okay. Um, well, there it is. Okay, so actually, that didn't take us that long. Um, okay, these three are definitely in there. I am not now. See, we lucked out because the answer is D, so we were able to process of elimination A, B, and C. We are lucky. The problem is when the answer is A, B, or C, and you have to spend a lot of time looking for something that's not there. Of course, you're not going to find it. So, so okay, if you spent, I don't know, 30 seconds looking for something and you can't find the keyword, you might want to just go to the next one and look for that one because perhaps you found what's not there, right? You're
But
gonna have to,
teacher, uh,
yeah, go ahead.
but teacher, okay, the last one they gave each tree a personal name. We already read that they set them apart by species.
Uh-huh, right.
Is it the same synonym as to give each tree a personal name?
Heck no, Selma. Your personal name is Selma. Your personal name
Ah.
isn't Homo sapiens. Hi, Homo sapiens. Hello, teacher Homo sapiens. Nice to meet you, Homo sapiens. You silly, silly person. I'm just joking with you, but you're
Sorry.
laughing. Thank goodness. Okay. All right. All right. The second stage of tree worship. All right, we know where to find that. Involves a distinction between. Okay. Hmm. Uh, actually, do you know the answer to this? We only have like a minute left.
Yes, the spirit and the body of a
Do you
tree.
remember?
Yes,
Can
I
you?
do.
Sometimes you might be able to get the questions if you did a good enough skim. If you recognized, for example, okay, I recognize and paraphrase, summarize to myself stage one, stage two, stage three. I knew this was going to come up in a question. It always does. Do you remember?
Yes, it's letter B. The
Spirit and the
spirit.
body of the same. I agree with
Uh-huh.
you. hmm Very good. Now, because you're paranoid and nervous and freaking out as you're taking the TOEFL test, and because I know exactly where to find it, I probably would give it a quick check. I know where it is. The spirit exists independently of the physical tree.
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Quick check. Yes. All right. I wasted an extra 3 seconds, but it's worth it for my peace of mind. Okay. Do you have any last questions, Soma? Before I say
Uh,
ta-ta for now.
as I mean, you probably got a lot of experience with the TOEFL exam, so could you give me any advice?
Uh,
Just, I mean,
study
the
a lot.
best advice.
You have
Uh-huh.
to, okay, yes, my overall advice is
Uh-huh.
not only should you always be improving your English, and of course that will help, but in point of fact, being confident that you know exactly how you're going to attack each and every question on the test. Basically, having a formula for how are you going to write the writing pieces, having a formula, a template. How am I going to answer question one, two, three, four, five, six? Okay, question five. I'm going to I'm going to explain what the problem is. I'm going to give a compound sentence. The man gives two possible. The man says the woman could either do A or she could do B. And then knowing that I'm going to say very simply in a short sentence, I believe she should do B. And then my first reason, knowing I'm going to say my first reason is da 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 because, and I know I'm going to say my second reason is blah, 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 because I know half of what I'm going to say before I ever take the test. I know exactly the template of my speech.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how I'm going to attack each reading question, exactly what I'm going to do when I see a vocabulary question, exactly what I'm going to do when I see not, except, least. I know exactly how I'm going to handle it. So I'm not wasting time fumbling around. I'm being very direct and really attacking, really being efficient,
Uh-huh.
maximizing efficiency by having a very clear plan and
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely knowing it and practicing enough so you've got it cold. You know exactly what you're going to do. It also helps build your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You already have a plan in place. So that's my biggest thing. I have to go. I am now late to my next class.
Okay.
So
Thank you
gotta
very much. You too.
gotta go, Selma. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Bye bye.